The best racing in the world. The racing that I'm going to talk about today is welcome to my new series called Car Talk. And in Car Talk, I'm going to talk about cars while driving to whatever destination I'm going to. In today's episode, I'm driving to the gym and I'm talking about what I believe is the best racing in the world from a series perspective and from a car perspective. And this might ruffle a few feathers, so stay tuned to the end. But I have 3 reasons why I think this racing is the best in the world. 1, car counts. 2, the racing itself. And 3, the access. And so the racing that I'm going to talk about today is sports car racing as a whole. And I've watched a lot of different motorsports, everything from dirt racing to NASCAR to Formula One to IndyCar to IMSA to, name it out there. And I think the best kind of racing from a actual racing perspective, wheel-to-wheel action, and I'm going to add a 4th one, realism to it, is sports car racing. And so starting off with point number 1, talking about the car counts. So in sports car racing, regardless if it's WEC, I'm going to include like hypercar and LMP2s into that as well, and GT3s. But talking about car counts, the car counts for these races are absolutely monstrous. Blows Formula One, NASCAR out of the water. And it's exciting to see this many cars on the track just purely from a numbers perspective. The reason why I like this a lot is because there's just so many participants, there's so many drivers, and also it really allows you to see how either equal the playing field is between different manufacturers or specific teams to specific drivers. And one example I'm going to give is not only the 24-hour Le Mans or the Rolex 24 at Daytona, but the 24 hours of Spa, which is going to have 76 cars this upcoming weekend on July 28th, depending on specifically, when you're watching this video. Also, this car in front of me is driving so impeccably slow. I literally feel like I have Lance Stroll in front of me. Either way, sports car racing is underrated because of the car counts. I think that the more the cars are out there, the more the action, and the fact that you have those car counts as high as they are is number 1. So number 2 is the racing in and of itself. And I believe that the racing, door-to-door action within sports car racing, especially multi-class sports car racing, is unmatched. Now, I know sports car racing is only road courses, but I do believe that you have to sort of segment this a little bit when it comes to what the best motorsport is. There's really not the best motorsport. When I look for a motorsport, I want to see a lot of different things. I want to see passing. I want to see action. I want to see strategy. I'm going to add that into this one as well. But I think sports car racing gives you all of that and then more, specifically even endurance racing. Endurance racing is what I think is some of the best forms of racing in the world, primarily because of the fact that there is so much strategy that goes into it, so much door-to-door action, and the multi-class aspect really makes drivers think, when do I need to make a move? When should I make a move? When shouldn't I make a move? And it is wild. If you've never raced in any sports car or any multi-class action on a simulator or a racing game, you should, because the amount of stress and pressure that goes into these races and into these drivers' heads is like none other. It is absolutely ridiculous. So the side-by-side racing and the door-to-door action at a sports car racing event like the 24-hour Le Mans or the 6 hours of Imola or the 24 hours of Spa or whatever it might be, the Rolex 24, is unmatched because of the multi-class action there. And so that is a big reason why I absolutely love sports car racing. Another reason why I love sports car racing is because the access, and I'm going to add on to this, the cost. The barrier of entry to going and watching some sports car racing is so low comparatively to NASCAR, IndyCar, Formula One, things along those lines. And so if you have the opportunity to race or go see a race that is a sports car race, you have to go watch it. Whether it's, support series going on during an IndyCar race, or whether it is you're going and watching a race overseas, the World Endurance Championship, or maybe it's the 24 hours of Le Mans or the 24 at Daytona, or anything IMSA related. The 6 hours of the Glen was this past weekend. And The access to it, from what I've seen, is so impressive that it really, if you care about and want to be close to the cars without forking out an arm and a leg in your firstborn child, sports car racing is where it's at. I remember going to the first ever Music City Grand Prix a few years on back, and the reason why, not in this car, but in my other car, the reason why I have a Zealous Motorsports sticker is because of the access that they gave me to their car, to their garage, with just a GA ticket. And I got a sticker, and we talked over Instagram, and I was hooked. Also got a tire from an Aston Martin GT3. I mean, I'm like, that is just impressive that they had those, and it was for a good charity, and you can donate. You can't do that in NASCAR. You can't do that in Formula One. And so I think that the level of access for sports car racing events for the fan is like none other. Is like absolutely none other. I'm going to add this in. The manufacturers that are a part of sports car racing, it actually, you can see, okay, this is a Lamborghini, this is a Ferrari, this is a McLaren, and you can tell that that is that specific kind of car. In Formula One, obviously, they are, Red Bulls or Ferraris or Aston Martins, whatever it might be, McLarens, but it doesn't look like a production car. When you go to a sports car race, now taking aside, putting hypercar and LMP2s to the side, the prototypes, but the GTs, the GT3s, they look like actual cars. They look like cars that you're going to see on the road. You're going to look like cars that you can go and buy in a dealership. Obviously, it's heavily modified. The wings, of course, and the interiors, obviously, they have to be up to spec. But I think it's the most accurate representation, alongside even like supercar racing, and, rally, WRC, all that stuff. I think that those kind of cars adds a sense of realism to what you're watching, and I like that. I like the connection there. So the cars are unbelievable. And just to name a few manufacturers, I mean, I could probably name all of them, but you have Corvette, you have Ford, you have Ferrari, you have Mercedes, you have McLaren, you have Aston Martin, you have Lamborghinis, you have Porsches. I mean, just to name a few there. You have just so many different manufacturers, BMWs, there's just so many different kind of cars that it brings a sense of, okay, I'm going to see this car on track, and I could also go see this in a showroom if I really want to go buy this car, or whatever it might be. So I think that if you haven't watched any kind of sports car racing, watch it. Look up the IMSA schedule, look up the WEC schedule, and see what's coming up, and watch a race. Even if it's a 24-hour race, you'll find there's got to be a time where you could watch 30 minutes to 24 hours, or 30 minutes, you could watch all 24 hours. I've done that before. But you can watch some action from these races. And I recommend, if you're going to watch a race, I would watch the beginning, obviously watch the end, but I would watch and figure out when the sunset is, if it's an endurance race, when the transition from day to night is. Watch some of the overnight stint and watch the transition from the night to day. One easy race to do that is a 24 hours of Rolex 24 Daytona. And then another one would be, you could do Spa, you could do Le Mans, you could even do the 24 hours of the Nürburgring as well. But the night to day transition, you'll see some of the most cinematic, some of the most beautiful racing scenes that you will ever see in your life with these venues. And that's another thing. I want to add this on to the back end of this. Point number 5. Where these tracks are at, especially with WEC and IMSA, they're, whether it's a street course or whatever it is, and all that, the venues and the scenery is unmatched. It is unmatched. Now, some are obviously better than others. You're going to have like Spa, which is a purpose-built course. Le Mans, obviously, Lassard, purpose-built course there. But also some of the street circuits with IMSA. Just the type of racing that you're going to get from door-to-door action with the multi-manufacturers, different classes, the access, the entertaining racing as well. It's not just follow the leader. It's wheel-to-wheel for, quite a bit, especially with the multi-classes. It is unmatched. And so that is the end of car talk for today. Make sure if you've enjoyed this video, let me know of any other topics you want me to talk about in the car, and I'll add that to a list whenever I'm driving anywhere. And make sure if you've enjoyed to subscribe right down there. I did it this time and made sure I got the right corner, and I'll be going to the gym and getting a lift in. So hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next one.